I used to attend a high school in a really small town. Everybody in our grade knew each other and was friendly with one another for the most part. But there was this one kid in particular that was always causing problems.
One kid. In my school years, there were multiple stuck-up dicks. Look at them black-ass eyes, so demonic. In this channel, they always make the bad guys look so freaky. This is actually tame compared to other ones.
I'll just say his name was Colin. He was a really tall and skinny guy with long greasy hair like he was trying to look like Ash from Pokemon or something. His facial structure was super long and weird too. And he always had an expression that made him look angry and on edge all the time. He was one of those kids that had severe anger management problems and would snap if provoked in the slightest or throw a massive temper tantrum. Colin
Yeah, I used to be a lot like that during my school days. I always had trouble controlling my emotions. I'm autistic and have ADHD and anxiety disorder. But once I hit the 8th grade, I stopped having a lot of these problems, like, pretty suddenly. Guess I just grew out of it.
was frighteningly easy to provoke too. Sometimes, all it took was somebody looking him in the eye in a slightly wrong way. That's why most people wouldn't even look at him at all, because they were all too afraid that he would take it personally. The guy had a long history of acting inappropriately as he was known for cursing at his classmates.
Damn! Even the bald-ass teacher is shaking in fear. Somebody get this kid under control. Like, maybe there's something going on at home with him.
School employees, and at one point urinated outside the school. I managed to avoid any serious interactions with Colin for the longest time.
He urinated outside? On second thought, yeah, that's not that big of a deal if you're a guy. As long as it's in some bushes. But something tells me but I didn't really see any bushes back there.
He's known for cursing at his classmates, school employees, and at one point
But even if it's not super unusual for guys, I don't want to see that shit. Put it back in the pants and just go to the toilet.
Urinated outside the school. I managed to avoid any serious interactions with Colin for the longest time, but eventually I had a couple close calls.
Wait a minute, is this an all-boys school? I forget. Looks like there's mostly just boys.
In the last few weeks before summer, our school would always have an ice cream truck park outside right after class let out. They called it a sweet treat to beat the heat, and unsurprisingly, it was really popular.
Oh man, I love ice cream trucks. When I was a kid, I would always get 2 scoops of vanilla peanut butter Ripple. But sadly, in recent years, ice cream trucks have been coming less and less to our neighborhood during the summer. I have a feeling it's mostly because the kids in my neighborhood specifically, like, a lot of them are all grown up. There aren't a whole lot of little kids in this neighborhood anymore. So that sucks.
Popular with everyone, especially.
But yeah, you know, adults like ice cream too.
Since all the ice cream was offered at a discount for the students, right after class, everyone would rush to get in line, or they'd be stuck waiting in the heat for a long time. I always made sure I was one of the first to line up, just in case the truck ran out of ice cream before I got a chance to get any. One day, I ran out and got to be second in line, on account of being a pretty fast runner. I was psyched because I only had to wait for one other person to get through, and then I would get mine. Unfortunately, after a few seconds, something really disturbing happened.
What are you groaning and sniffing at? That is... Are you horny or something, kid? The fuck's wrong with you? Use your words.
I heard heavy breathing right behind me, with warm, moist breath all over my neck. It was like a slobbering bulldog drooling on me. When I
At least bulldogs are kind of cute.
Turned around. My heart skipped a beat as I saw Colin. I remember seeing him stand right there, glaring at me with the meanest face ever. It was so enraged with his eyebrows so pointed it almost looked ridiculous. Like he was a little kid upset about not getting the toy he wanted. It wouldn't have been so unsettling if we were in elementary school, but we were in high school, and it was Colin. Somebody who would actually act on that emotion.
Kid, someone's gotta stand up to this motherfucker. Someone needs to be the one to beat his ass. You know, in public school, in my opinion, kids just need to fight it out. Like, kids these days have become such whiny motherfuckers that can't do anything by themselves. And they've grown up to be, often be people who can't do anything by themselves. You wanna know why? Because the school's always teaching them how to be little tattletales and to go to a teacher. But in the end, often teachers don't do shit until a fight breaks out. And then they have to call the police, and that's stupid. Just let them figure it out for themselves. Let them fight it out. This kid really needs a good ass whooping. Have a couple of kids gang up on him. Come on, kid, call your friends. Give him the beating that this motherfucker deserves. I may not have been the best kid in school, but I was just prone to having meltdowns. I wasn't a bully to other kids. This kid, on the other hand, obviously is.
Is everything...
I was here first!
Calm down, dude.
Call
We're
your
both
friends,
at the
kick
front of
his
the
ass.
line.
Don't tell me to calm down!
All right, man. You can have my spot.
No, people who cut should go to the back of the line!
Okay, dude. Fine, I'm going.
He would then point
Stand your
towards the
fucking
back of
ground,
the line like I was a
pussy.
dog. Of course, this was extremely embarrassing, but I didn't want to get on Colin's bad side. I might be a fast runner, but I'd never got into a fight,
yeah,
and I
sure,
didn't want my first one to be with an unhinged psycho. By the time I got to the back, I had gone from second to 32nd. However, after waiting there for a while in the beating sun with no shade,
At Zespri Kiwi, we're a little obsessed with growing sweet perfection. Taste the obsession.
I finally got back up to the truck for them to be all out of ice cream for the day. I was pretty ticked off, as I knew I'd fairly gotten there before almost everyone else, and I just got muscled out by Colin because he couldn't accept the fact that he'd rightfully lost to me in a foot race. But then I saw Colin sitting on a bench, finishing up his ice cream while looking at me with an infuriating...
Ugh. Even while eating ice cream and having a neutral expression, he's an ugly motherfucker. You'd think he'd be a carnivore with those teeth. Just straight up eating meat, probably even raw meat. I wouldn't put it past him. I wouldn't put it past this channel, dude. It's for him to do something gross like that.
Smug expression on his face, and I got more upset and said something under my breath, which totally set Colin off.
Frickin' jerk.
He is a jerk. Dude, you had it coming. Why are you looking at him like that? Now's the perfect time to take that ice cream, smash it in his eyes so he can't see, and then go fucking ballistic on his ass.
Ah! What did you say to me? Ah! Get off of me! Hey!
On that day,
This kid, dude, this bully's a fucking snowflake. Can't even take words. Little bitch.
I was lucky there was a teacher to stop Colin before he did anything more. I knew he was going to have more issues with me because of it. I casually exited and began making my way home. The weird thing was that the whole next day in all the classes I had with him, Colin didn't say a thing. He just glared at me all day with
Dude,
rage
let
in
it
his
go,
eyes. I
Snowflake.
did everything I could not to run into him, and luckily I went through all of my classes without him getting on my case. When it came time to get in line for ice cream, I didn't bother racing to the front. I took my time and got in near the back, but at least this time I was sure I'd get something and not get turned away. Despite being in the back of the line, something ended up happening that would haunt me for the rest of my life. I heard something and turned to look, only to see Colin sprinting toward me.
The fuck? Dude, get the other kids. Gang up on this motherfucker.
Charged right into me so hard, tackling me to the concrete. I managed to keep my footing, but Colin still had me by the collar. Before Colin could knock my teeth out, I pushed him off and ran the hell out of there. His hyper-aggressive, unhinged mentality made me more scared of him than ever. Moments later, Colin was reported to the office. But the most disturbing thing of all is what they found in his backpack when they searched him. There was 2 drawings he had made in a psychotic chicken scratch style with a bunch of stick figures in.
It's him with a gun, shooting this kid. I think that's what it is. That's what I'm guessing. This kid brought a fucking gun to school, and he was planning on shooting this kid.
In it. There was one that was supposed to be him, sawing the heads off all the others who had X's for eyes. It doesn't take a genius to figure out the intention behind the drawing. Colin was immediately suspended for 10 days over it. I'm glad he had that time to cool down over the whole thing. Otherwise, I'm sure things would have been much worse. This story was inspired by an incident that happened in 2020. A student was suspended for a total of 10 days for drawing 2 pictures of several stick figures with X's for eyes. The student's mother had once instructed him to draw comic strips when he was angry instead of getting physical with it.
Isn't that what Susan Heffley did in Die a Wimpy Kid with her 3 kids? Yeah, sometimes that doesn't work. Well, I mean, it helps you realize how unhinged the kid is if he draws something along the lines of this. So at least it gives you evidence against him. But yeah, this kid is a future convict.
Anyone. The school later sent the student to the office after shoving another student who had earlier cut him in line while participating in a class activity. The student's drawings are shown below, and were reportedly drawings he alluded to his classmates.